And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, we appreciate you guys being on with us. We also are joined now by our friends on Instagram, and we're connecting now with our friends on Amazon Live. We have a great guest that's joining us today, so I'm excited you all can be with us. And we're live now on Amazon. We welcome our friends there. If you guys are new to us on the Amazon platform, welcome, welcome, welcome. We have something very exciting for you guys coming up on Amazon Live this Saturday. So make sure, if you have not done so already, you hit that follow button either here in this corner or down below. That way you can stay connected with all of our things that we have coming up and when I go live. Even if you can't join me live, you can always catch the replay. So I appreciate all the love you guys are showing me there. Today, though, you'll find the books by our next guest. We're excited to welcome back Dr. Velma Bagby to our broadcast today. Leon Pitts, hello to you, joining us from Florida. Good to be able to see you over there, Leon. Glad you could join us live. But Dr. Velma Bagby is back with us today. You guys know her as a best-selling author of the Catch series. We have the newest book of the Catch series right here. She's also
Mhm.
a media personality as well. She's the host of Dr. Velma Talks, as well as a brand new show, Finding Your Voice, that we're excited about. That's in its first season. I want to talk to her about a very busy 2025 for her and what she's looking forward to that you guys should know about too. Dr. Velma, always a pleasure. Welcome back to the broadcast.
Thank you, Cyrus. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited.
Look, excited to have you. Wendy Arsad, good to be able to see you over there on
Hey,
Facebook. Glad you could join us. So, again, the new year is here, and I should let our audience know part of this will be for our friends on Max WYAD 94.1 FM in Mississippi, as well as Conversations Daily News, my news program. So, Dr. Bama, 2025 came in not playing with us. You've already been busy. There's a lot
yes.
going on in the world, so our thoughts and prayers are with those from coast to coast. We here are dealing with the winter storms. Of course, on the West Coast where you are, they're dealing with the wildfires. But what has it been like for you, Dr. Velma, to see all the things already coming together for this year?
It's really exciting when I think in terms of starting my new podcast and I'm already booked through March. That's exciting for me. I wasn't sure if I would be able to do that and have that many guests, but I'm grateful for all of those who were gracious enough to join the show. And I'm excited about the push the little nudge I was given to get started.
Love that. Real Talk with Tanya White. Hello to you, Tanya. Good to be able to see you. Saw a great interview that you did with Melissa Banks, Tanya. So glad you could join us. Dr. Velma, you have been able to, people know you for different things. One of those,
Yeah.
of course, is the best-selling series, the Catch series. Talk to us about that because you've talked to us about before. This was not something that was necessarily in the plans for you, but what has it been like for you to see the success of that?
It's amazing, and it was driven by the audience because, like I said, I thought I was stepping out there and offering a novel that would be the assignment for me. But when the audience began reading it, they asked for more stories, and that told me that what I was writing about really did resonate with a lot of the audience. And because of their responses, I decided to write more. And then, of course, the one book where the men reached out to me, I didn't realize I had a small pocket of male readers, and they too wanted to know, what about the wrong women to date? And so that prompted me to write the third book. And so I'm just excited about how it's all evolved.
Exactly. Ice Cold Alpha, good to be able to see you over there on Facebook. So for those who don't know, the series began with this book. I'm going to highlight for you guys over on Amazon, The Catch No One Wants. It's the very first book that introduced us to the father and daughter duo. We haven't talked a lot about Veronica and Grayson, Dr. Velma, lately because you've had so many other things we've been having
Right.
to talk about. But what is so great about this book and this series, though, especially the three books featuring this father and daughter, is that not only was the daughter Veronica able to learn some great lessons, but thanks to the books like The Wrong Catch and The Wrong Catch She'll Tear Down the House, they were able to impart those lessons for others. You've been able to do the exact same thing, Dr. Bama, celebrating 50 years of marriage
Yes.
last year. What has that been like for you to use your own experiences to be able to encourage couples or those thinking about marriage?
Well, it's interesting. Couples have been blessed by the series as well because some of the things that we talk about, or Pastor Grayson talks about to both the men and the women, are
Mhm.
beneficial to even couples. And so I remember one gentleman reached out and said he saw something, read something that he thought applied to him. He's married. He said, now this is something I need to change or correct. And so I'm really excited about that. That was the whole idea, is to weave the stories in a way that people can identify themselves in the stories. And then also within the stories provide a way to change or to escape. And that's exactly what people began to do, including some of my readers, female readers, who said, I'm meeting guys now, and I'm trying to determine which fish are you. Let me make sure that you're the right fish. And I just thought that was so hilarious. But that's exactly what we did, what we talked about in the book. So it's
Yeah.
been amazing to me.
Yeah, in this series too, Dr. Van, I'm going to talk briefly about this, and we're going to go into the new book.
Hmm.
What I also appreciate are, even though it is fiction, for the first three books in the series, and again, we're
Yeah,
talking about The
yeah.
Catch No One Wants. For those who are just finding out about it, I'm going to highlight it for you guys too. The next book in the series is The Wrong Catch on Amazon. You guys can see it over there, and I should say all of the Kindle editions are only $2.99 over here on Amazon for this series. You guys can pick that up. And then for the guys, she had The Wrong Catch. She'll tear down the house. That one is $4.99 for the Kindle of that one, or you get the paperback as well. But what was interesting for me is that for the men, in The Wrong Catch, She'll Tear Down the House, Dr. Velma, as well as in The Wrong Catch, for the ladies, that you have two different things we're able to see. One are the warning signs we all need to be aware
Hmm.
of, and not
Hmm.
get too overconfident and think, oh, that's not what I really saw. That's not really who they are. But also the fact that people can change, right? We saw
Yes,
that in The Wrong Catch. Talk to
right.
us about those two things, because those aren't things that we always accept, right? I mean, we think that we can be supermen and superwomen, and say, well, you know what? I can change that person. They may have that quality, but that's not something I have to worry about. What has it been like for you to have those conversations with people when it comes to reading the series?
It's really interesting because I found that as adults, we still practice high school dating. And I thought that was amazing. Even as I did my research to prepare for writing the books and the stories, we practice high school dating. And when you think about it, high school dating does not lead you to examine who this person truly is at the core of their hearts. High school dating is just, oh, just want to have fun. Oh, yeah, they look good. Oh, yeah, she looks good. There's no true examination of not only yourself, but the person. Is just going into a relationship. And so I wanted to make sure that the strategy and what we should be practicing was explained in every one of the books. And so I felt that that was important, that we use a different strategy. I call the strategy dating for marriage, because if that's your goal, that's what you should be using, those tools to help you to really examine who this person is. But high school dating doesn't examine anything. So
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons so many people end up with a stranger that they walk down the aisle with, and then get shocked when they discover some things about that person after marriage. Well, you didn't even stop to really find out who this person was truly. So
right.
that's important to me. And so I'm grateful for what it has done and what it's doing for the people who have read the stories.
Hmm.
It's doing exactly what it was designed to do.
Love
Open
that.
our eyes to using a different method of dating. If marriage is your goal, then your dating strategy should change. You shouldn't be dating like you were in high school.
Right. So true. So true. Checkmate, hello to you over there on IG. Rhonda Young, hello to you over there on IG as well. For those who are just tuning in, welcome. You're watching Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live, but we are simulcasting on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram. We're joined by best-selling author Dr. Velma Bagby today. We're talking with her not only about the success of her Catch series that's now in the fifth book. We're about to be talking about the fifth book, but also what it's been like for her to share some really great life lessons as well. Now, book four, you return to nonfiction, Dr. Vama,
Mhm.
with the Catch Book of Fools. Now, with the new book, 30 Day Wild Journal, Women of Worth, you give us some great things. Talk to us about how this particular book came about.
Well, I, was working with my friend, Miss Queenie Clem, and we were several months creating what we felt were great affirmations. We knew we wanted to put something out regarding the woman of worth, because the WOW acronym is something that Grayson talks about in the book, even with the men, in determining what type of woman you should be looking for. She should be a wild woman, a woman of worth, a woman who understands her value, and who has self confidence, someone who already knows those things about herself. And so we decided, why don't we create a journal? And I was talking to her, and I said, why don't you come up with some affirmations? I'll come up with some affirmations. And so for several months, that's what we were doing, working on creating affirmations. And then I prayerfully try to make sure that God is guiding me every step of the way. And in prayer, I discovered that that wasn't what we were supposed to do. What I felt like God was saying to me is find 30 women and ask them to give you an affirmation, their favorite scripture, something that helps them in those difficult times. And so that's what I wasn't even sure if I can find 30 women, and I did. Miss Queenie as well. And so we were able to get that. And to me, it made it more precious and more valuable because it's not just the two of us. It was 30 women who gave it their perspective in terms of what they feel an affirmation should be spoken over your life and the scripture that they use. And then they provided a story behind why they like that particular scripture and affirmation.
Yeah, love that. I'm going to go into the day. For those that are joining us live, it is would be day 9 in the book. I'm going to go through that here in a bit with Dr. Velma. I'm prepared. It's Dr. Taz's message in that one. We're going to talk about that. Um, you have been done very well with this series, Dr. Velma. I mentioned a couple
Mhm.
times you being a best-selling author. Could you have imagined that would have been the case for something? Because people initially got to know you for nonfiction. So, what was it like for you to come out with this series and to see people responding to it the way they have?
It was really inspirational to me. It
Mhm.
was affirming to me to let me know that you did the right thing. You took the right approach because I started out writing nonfiction in the Christian community. That's really what they gravitate towards. But I wanted to reach a wider audience. I wanted to try to reach an audience that may not necessarily pick up a nonfiction book when it comes to dating and marriage. Maybe they want something a little more that would capture their attention. So that's when I discovered the 50 parables, that over 50 parables that Jesus had written. Those are fictional stories. And he did it on purpose. He didn't want to hit anybody over the head about what they're doing and where they were at that moment. He didn't want to be preachy. He simply told them a story and used something that they were familiar with in order to give them the message that he felt they needed and allowed them to discover themselves in the story. And at the end, he still didn't try to hit them over the head. Now you need to change now. No, he did not. Many cases, he finished the story and walked away. It was up to the individual to decide what they were going to do with what they just learned. And that's what I felt like the books did. And I felt like it was very successful. Now, the book concerning the men, my favorite was the twins in the purple book because the twins who were dating the same women and the women didn't know that they were dating two different guys. That was one of my favorite characters. And I got that from the twins, my twin nephews. I asked them specifically, do you guys really have that kind of sense about each other? He said, yes, we do. So I took that information and created that character. And then one of the things I want to mention is most of those characters are named after a family member or a friend. So it
Mhm.
was very funny for me for the family members and friends who came to my aid to come up with the 30 affirmations because those names are throughout my books. At least their first names are, and many of the characters. I at least have over 27 in books 1 and 2.
Mm. Love that. Love that. A great nod to them. So I want to talk about WOW, the 30-day WOW journal. We're beginning a brand new year, which is exciting. I mean, it's hard to believe next week we're already halfway through the first month. but here we are. So beginning a new month, a new year. How Once you and Miss Queenie had gotten your 30 affirmations, how did you decide how you wanted to develop the book?
Well, in this particular case, this was right after the bad storm that hit the East Coast. And I
Mhm.
remember in the group that I just recently closed, I had a readers and writers group. I suggested that those who were affected by the storms, those small businesses, to post their links and everything in the group so that we can support them. What just so happens, Pay Per V Publishing posted in there because they're in Atlanta,
Mhm.
Laquita Parks.
Mhm.
And when I saw that, I said, well, this time I'm going to allow her company to release this journal so that I could support somebody that was affected by those bad storms. And that's what I did. So
Yeah.
she actually did this for me. And as we talked, she definitely formatted the book for me as well as a part of that package and um, gave me some prompts and tips on things I needed to add in addition to what we had received. So I did add those in there. So kudos to Paper V Publishing. I'm grateful that I was able to support her
Mhm.
um, as a result of the storms that affected the area.
Love that. Melissa Banks is joining us. Melissa says, hello, looking beautiful, Dr. Velma. She says,
Oh my
and
gosh.
so that leads us then to day 9. So I want to show our audience in, Dr. Velma, what it looks like. So when
Hmm.
they're able to open up the book, it has the affirmation, it
Uh-huh.
has scriptures, and then a thought from that contributor so they can see
Yeah.
it there. So I'm going to look at day 9 since for those of us who are live, it is day 9. The
Hmm.
affirmation is an interesting one and an appropriate one, Dr. Velma. I am
Yes, I
walking by
agree.
faith, believing what I ask, I will receive. And then the scriptural text is Matthew 7:7, a very popular scripture for people of faith. Keep
Yeah.
on asking, and you will receive what you ask for. Keep on seeking, and you will find. Keep on knocking, and the door will be open to you. And Taz mentions there, this scripture reminds me of God's past faithfulness in my
Hmm.
life. It helps me keep self doubt at bay and empowers me to walk confidently in victory. So, what was it like for you as you kind of saw not only the scriptures that they chose, Dr. Belma, but their thoughts and what they hope it did for others?
What I loved about it is, like you mentioned, Dr. Taz, we have several people who are professional writers, who are professionals in their field, like Dr. Taz. We have Melissa in there, Melissa Banks, a successful event planner. We have others in there, but I also love the fact, and other authors.
Mhm.
Also love the fact that we just have regular believers in here, people who have never written anything, who contributed to this, and they were just in awe and having their name mentioned on one of those days and their affirmation. I love that.
Yeah,
For instance, my sister Veronica is on page 3. She said, I am loved and love saved me. I mean, very simple,
yeah.
but I'm just saying they're just as powerful as someone who's professional and very successful. So this is why this book really blessed me. It just came out to be something more precious. And then if Miss Queenie and I came up with all the affirmations ourselves, to me it's more valuable because there's individuals who did this.
Love that. We'll let a hello to you. We'll let a Dunn's joining us over there on Facebook. Kate, hello to you, Kate Thurman. Got a lot of the CMG family here. Kate, good to be
Hmm.
to see you over there on Facebook. Over on IG, we have Edward Walters. Hey, Edward, good to be to see you. Lisa Dotson. Lisa, I haven't heard from you in a minute. Hope all is well with you. Good to be to see you. Camellia Flanagan is over there on IG. And hey, Cayman Kelly, good to be to see Cayman as well. Cayman, I got your message. I'll be messaging you back, man, when I get off the air today. And I think that is the other cool thing too, Dr. Velma, is that you have those messages, and I think what's interesting about the wild journal is you don't have to wait, of course, to day 9. You can just open it up any
Exactly.
day to be able to do it. Was that part of your hope that people would just be able to find something that spoke to them on that day?
That's exactly the way I'm using it. I had to go to a particular day. I said, "Woo, I need something different today." I had to go to a particular page. I said, "Oh, wow, this is perfect for me today." And
Yeah.
so, yes, it's designed so that this is not something you go through for 30 days. No, you can if you choose to do that, but you can actually go through and pick out something that you need for that day. That's what
Mhm.
I love about it.
Mhm. And I love the component of the reader becoming part of the story because, as I mentioned, like with Dr. Taz, she mentions what that scripture meant for her, but then there's room for the reader, the owner of the book, to be able to write their own thoughts there too,
Absolutely.
to be able to reflect
Absolutely.
back on that. Part of what you've been able to do, and we've talked about before, Dr. Velma, is that you've had to kind of change, flip the switch, so to speak, as to how you saw yourself entering this phase of your life as a best-selling author, being able to run your own brand and build business, but also you have people around you that are inspired by you and empowered by you. What has that been like for you to know that just by your living your life and staying faithful to your assignment, that you've been able to help others along the way?
I always make it a point to stop, and it reminds me of the 10 lepers who were healed by Jesus, and only one turned back to say thank you.
Mhm.
That's my way of turning back and saying thank you. I turn back to see if there's somebody I can assist or help. Because I remember in the early stages of my journey to finding my voice in the very beginning, leaving corporate. I had a corporate voice. I knew how to write as corporate. That was my job as a deputy administrator. But walking away and retiring from that, what was it that I needed to say and how do I need to say it? And looking for those answers. I didn't have many people in the literary field who were that willing to help me and walk with me through that process. So I had to read a lot of how-to books and reach
Mhm.
out to some folks who were successful in their writing career. And that really helped me. So I think that was important for me. In every step and every stage of my life, I try to stop and turn back to see if there's somebody I can help. And it gives me great joy to see that Miss Queenie became a first time author with this one book. She's
Yeah.
been a literary ambassador for years, but she's a first time author now. And another young lady, Myra Cook, I introduced her to a publisher, I think it was Jacqueline Cox, who was writing an anthology. And I said, the best way to get out there, if you're nervous and unsure in starting this writing career, is to join an anthology. It's a short version of short story. And she did. And I'm telling you, to see her confidence soar right now is a blessing to me. So I always try to look back and see who I can aid or help. They're great people that I've met along the way and I consider as friends. If there's a special gift and ability that they have, I send people to them. I make sure I send people over to them to let them know that, yeah, I know somebody that can do that for you. And I do that as well. So I think it's not just, we're not just an island, no matter what our brand is.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a brand right now. I can't mention, but I'm wearing a brand. And she knows I'm wearing a brand around my neck. So now it's about us supporting each other.
Dr. Velma, if you would like to name the brand, it is totally okay. Yeah,
No,
okay, okay. Well, let us say, as Dr. Velma has definitely supported me in my journey, it's
absolutely.
very good about that. We'll let it for sure. Last thing I want to talk to you about is finding your voice. That is your new podcast. I was honored to be a guest myself. Talk to us about finding your voice and what that's been like for you to go from having your own solo podcast with Dr. Velma Talks to now interviewing guests.
Just it's been exciting. I didn't mind that at all. I don't mind interviewing. I mean, the nature of my work that I did, I was inviting employers and businesses into my office all the time, and that was just where I was. I was at home,
Mhm.
and sometimes making presentations to over 100 employers because I work for the EDD department. So that was my job. So I'm at home interviewing, but what I love is getting to know people and their stories and listening to new ideas and new approaches to things, especially when we hit a rough patch. That was the whole idea of finding your voice, telling others about, they look at us and think, oh, wow, she must have just walked into that opportunity, became successful overnight. They have no idea what happens behind the scenes. So hearing individual stories and experiences is it's been a real blessing to me because it shows others that no matter where you are in life, and if you know that you have an assignment, because everybody should know that,
Right.
you shouldn't fear it. You shouldn't fear it at all. And just hearing some of our stories and how difficult or how challenging it was for us in the beginning would help them to overcome whatever they may be facing so they can accomplish what they've been called to do.
Yeah, such a great thing. So I'm excited about our audience being able to keep up with that. So again, everyone, best-selling author, media personality, Dr. Velma Bagby has been our guest. Talking with us about what's already been a busy 2025 for her. Of course, she's still writing the success of this book, the 30-Day Wild Journal, Women of Worth, of course, with Miss Queenie Clem is here to say congratulations again to you. Miss Queenie, it was good to be able to speak with you about the book, as well as, of course, the new season of her new podcast, Finding Your
Mhm.
Voice as well. Dr. Velma, let our audience know, how can they stay connected with you?
You can stay connected by subscribing to my website, drvelmabagby.com, or reach out to me on any of the social media platforms as Dr. Velma Bagby. I look forward to hearing from you.
All right, Dr. Velma has some great things going on. Dr. Velma, congratulations to you again.
Thank you.
Excited about keeping up with everything you're doing and looking forward to our next step together.
Appreciate it, Cyrus, as always.
Thank you. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.